Hi guys, welcome back to another makeup tutorial. Today we will be doing a natural glam, something soft and beginner friendly. So if you want to see how I achieve this look, please keep on watching. I wanted to do a voiceover for this video because I wanted to just be really detailed but yet concise with the makeup application, and so I felt like a voiceover would be more appropriate just to prevent me from excessive talking and lengthening the video. Before I started recording, I had my brows done, my lids prepped by applying concealer and setting it with loose powder, getting that prepared for eyeshadow. I also had the rest of my skin prepped using my normal skincare routine so that I was ready to go for the foundation and all of that good jazz. So with the eyeshadow, when you're applying eyeshadow, obviously you prepare your lids first, right? And you can use a primer or a concealer. I mean, I don't know if anybody's still using like eyeshadow primer specifically for their lids. I feel like most people just kind of go with the flow with concealer, which is what I did. So you want to prime your lids and get that set and prepared, and then you're using at least 2 different shades of eyeshadow. You want a lighter nude shade and a darker nude shade, at least for something looking like this. But if you're a little bit more experienced with eyeshadow application and you want to, go crazy and be a little bit more technical, be my guest. You can do whatever you want. But for beginners, at least 2 neutral shades will get you started. So the lighter shade would go on first, and that just kind of acts as a transition shade for the darker shade that allows it to have a gradient effect so that it's more of a seamless application and it has a nice flow. The real reason I wanted to do this video was to test out this primer. It's an e.l.f. primer, it's a mattifying primer, and I kind of wanted to see how it held up under foundation. It reminds me of the Milk Hydro Grip primer that sells in Sephora, which was so popular on the market. It was such a really big thing. Everyone loved that, and so I felt like this was very similar to that. And so I was like, you know what, let me test it out and see, what it's giving. But then once you get your eyeshadow done and all of that and you prime your face, then you want to start spot correcting. And sometimes you can use a corrector. I don't use a corrector. I just, add concealer to dark marks if I don't want it to show through my foundation. It's not mandatory. You don't have to. Matter of fact, you don't have to do anything. How about that? You don't have to do anything. Right? But you can conceal your dark marks however you see fit. For me, I don't usually do even like foundation in my skincare routine anymore. There was a time when I was just like, yeah, foundation, give it all. But it's like, honestly, like, who wants to spend all that time doing makeup all day, every day? Like, I can't. I love makeup, I can't lie, but I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting down every day doing a full face of makeup. Whoever does that, great. Honestly, you are my queen, because that takes so much time and commitment. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And fast forward to now, in comparison to the past, I have narrowed down my makeup routine so much that it takes me a couple of minutes to do my normal general makeup routine. Like, if I'm going to an event, then yeah, I'll go all in, but I'm not trying to do all the extra stuff. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So once you have concealed your dark marks, then you apply your foundation. And in this video, I'm using 2 shades of foundation, a lighter shade and a darker shade. The darker shade just kind of brings the lighter shade more to my natural skin tone, and you will notice that at different points throughout the year, your skin shade changes. So for me, I think it's really good to have a lighter shade and a darker shade because you can kind of mix them and get your natural shade. So that's why I used 2. Once you have your foundation applied and blended out, then you apply your concealer to the T-zone area of your face. So your forehead, under your eyes, your chin. And blending is really key, so you want to spend time doing that. It is so important. And once you have gotten that technique down pat, I think you are fully on your way to becoming a professional. But that is really key. As a beginner, that's what you want to practice, is blending, because that's how everything is going to come along. And like I said, I don't use this much concealer or foundation in my regular or general makeup routine because I just feel like less is more. And I was gonna say I wish someone told me that. I think I heard it, but it's like I didn't pay attention until like fast forward to now. I'm just like, yeah, I just don't have the time to do all the extra stuff. I just can't. I can't. So I'm sorry. So less is more. And you want to do what you want to do, but I feel like it's good to have a narrowed down makeup routine and a glam makeup routine. So this is more like my glam makeup routine versus my normal general routine, right? Once you have your concealer blended out and everything, then you want to start adding your cream contour product around the parameters of your face. So you go along the jawline, the cheeks, the outer edges of your face, and you're trying to simulate a normal looking face, because that's generally how your natural face is. The forehead and the outer edges of your face are darker than the T-zone area, which is like your forehead, chin, and under your eyes. So you apply the bronzer in that fashion so you can simulate your normal face, and then you just kind of blend that out. And this is where you have applied all of your cream and liquid products. You're just pulling them together by blending them out. Once you have done that, then it's time to start setting these areas. And the powders that you are using are going to be similar shade for each shade of concealer or cream product that you have used. So for example, under your eye, you used a lighter concealer because you wanted a highlight effect. Therefore, the setting powder or foundation powder that you're going to use under your eye will be something close to that shade or equally light, because you want to maintain that brightness, or you want to maintain the integrity of the shade. Can you imagine if you used a darker shade to set under your eyes after you have used a lighter concealer? You would just be making that lightness darker, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind when you are setting your face. Likewise, with your bronzer on your cheek, using a lighter powder underneath the cheekbone is just like cleaning up that edge and making it sharp and giving you that fishy face and just giving you that snatched look, honey. Just tightening your face, right? And giving yourself the illusion of having like a high cheekbone or a chiseled cheekbone. And that's essentially what this step is. Once you have applied the powder, you allow it to bake a little bit. Generally, I don't bake. Again, this is all just for this tutorial, but usually I'm not using this much powder on a normal day or in my general makeup routine. But again, you're just setting everything and ensuring that all of the cream products will not be moving, and that's really why you set your cream and liquid products. Once you have set your highlighted areas, you are setting all the other areas with a normal shade foundation powder. So anywhere that I didn't necessarily like set with a lighter shade or a darker shade, that's where you're using your neutral shade or your skin shade foundation powder. That's really what it is. Again, remember the technique is to use the setting powder or the foundation powder that matches the shade of the cream or liquid product that you used prior. That is the rule. So on the cheek, you are setting your bronzer with a darker shade powder version of your bronzer. And you want to blend and diffuse the lines. You don't want to look like, you are just like unbuilt Lego. Like everyone can tell where the construction is. Like you a line here, a line there. That's not what you want. You want to ensure that it is blended and it's seamless and it flows in the transition. You will hear me say a lot, it's about, gradient, the gradient effect or the ombre effect or transition. Like you want everything to flow in a manner that is going to make you look flawless. That's the goal. We want to look beautiful and flawless. You don't want to look like a construction site, an incomplete construction site. That's not what we want, right? And then you just dust off any like excess powder that you have on your face. You kind of pay attention to see, okay, where do you need to touch up? Where do you need to blend out a little bit more? Here I'm using a brush that had bronzer shade to kind of diffuse that outline of the highlight area on my forehead, as you can see. Blending where you need to, brushing or adding a little bit more product where you need to. And that's really all it is just looking in the mirror, paying attention. And you want to ensure symmetry as well. That's so important. You will realize that it may be easier to apply the makeup on one side of your face depending on which hand or what side is your dominant side, and it may feel a little bit different or a little bit difficult to do it the same way on the opposite side. So that's what you also want to pay attention to, is getting symmetry. You don't want to look like you have a low cheekbone on one side and a high cheekbone on the other side. So symmetry is really important. Once you've dusted off like all of your excess powder and all of that, then you can add your blush. I am going with two lighter shades. Some people love darker shades of blushes or something rosy or something like a lighter pink. I have so many blushes and I still stick to the same palette for the most part. Like, I'm using the same thing. But you go with what you want, what works for you. And here I'm just adding I did not know that this product that I'm using on my brows right now is a mascara. It's a Maybelline Fiber Volumizer. It says mascara, but 4 years. I've had this for so long and I'm holding on to it because I love this product so much, but it's been discontinued. And I thought it was for your brows, but apparently it's mascara, but it's working for me. It's been working for me. I love this product on my brows. And that's the thing, there are no rules, okay? If you're marketing something as a mascara, if I want to use it in my brows, then that's what I'm gonna do. Because who's gonna check me? Who's the brow police? Who is the mascara police? Nobody. You can do whatever you want. If something says it's a bronzer, doesn't mean you only can use it as a bronzer. You can use it on your lids. You can use it wherever you want. So just keep that in mind. Don't stick to these rigid marketing rules about products. If you like it a certain way, use it. Get creative. Do what you want with these products, okay? Anyway, so then I started adding a little bit of contouring to my nose. I had forgot to use concealer down the bridge of my nose, actually, and which would have typically been the lighter concealer. I forgot to add it, so I ended up using the banana powder instead of going back and using liquid, because I had already applied powder to my face. So you never want to apply a liquid product on top of powder. That you cannot do, okay? So, and that's the thing, you can forget steps during makeup, and that's why I have just resorted to a simplified version. I can't, just make it simple. Somebody please just make it simple. I don't want all these steps. I want to look glam, but I don't want all the steps, and I don't want to spend all that time either. So yeah, I've just simplified everything. The simpler, the better. Less is more, honey. Less is more. So once I've done my contouring on my nose and the highlight down the bridge, I'm just, again, diffusing any lines, diffusing any harsh lines, anywhere that I can tell definitively that this line was drawn. I'm trying to get rid of that. That's really all that is, just brushing it out, making it flow, pulling everything together, making sure that it's seamless, making sure that it's transitioning the way that I intend or the way that I actually want it to flow or transition. Again, looking from side to side, you want to ensure symmetry. Then you want to set everything. Remember, you've added all of this powder, the setting powder, the face foundation powder. You've done all of this powder, so now you want to use a setting spray to add life back into your face. And don't spray too much, because some of y'all do too much. Don't spray too much, you're gonna mess that makeup up. You just want to bring a little life. You don't want to make it wet. Okay, you're gonna be mad because you're gonna mess all that makeup up. Okay, I don't know how to fix that. You gotta go to one of the gurus to tell you how to fix that. I don't know how to do that. So you bring a little bit of life into your face, and then you're just adding additional little touch-ups, like maybe you want a little bit of color or a neutral shade under your waterline of your eye. So that's what I'm doing here, is just adding a little bit of color under my eyes. And again, you can use whatever color you want. Some people get very creative, use different colors and all of that. As a beginner, you may not be there yet. And as you learn, you will, get explorative with different colors and shades under your eyes. But A safe space is to use the same shades that you used under your lids, or just neutral shades under your eye, which will be the same colors or tones that I used on my lids. Then I started to add my mascara. Better Than Sex is one of my top favorite. If it's not my favorite, it's easily number 1 or number 2. Maybe it changes on a day. Depends on the day. But love that mascara, very volumizing. It has fibers, and I always felt like black looks very weird on my face when I'm not in makeup, black mascara. And so I just you know what, I need to try a different shade. That's how I started using brown. And I was like, okay, this looks a little bit more, a lot more normal when I'm not in makeup, right? And so that's how I started using brown. And then I was like, oh, let me try adding brown before I add the black and see how that is. And I loved that. So that's something you can probably try out. So now I typically just go with first I apply the brown and then I apply the black. And then you want to do your lips, and you're using whatever shades you want. Usually I go with a dark shade to align my lips, and I'm pretty much usually sticking with the same lip liner or something close to that. I love neutral and pinky peachy tones for my lip color, and the dark lip liner just allows for a seamless ombre gradient transition effect. So I love that. So love this Maybelline Lifter lip gloss. So good. Once I apply that, I'm also going to add a pink tone on the midsection for that ombre effect, and that's the Revolution lip gloss. So yeah, I love pinky peachy nudes, and that's typically what I go with. I have way too much makeup, guys. I have so much makeup, it's ridiculous. Once I've done that, you check out to see if you need any touch-ups, anywhere that's missing anything. So for me, I'm just pretty much checking out my brows and adding a little bit of touch-up. I've diffused some of that line, and that's the one thing you want to be sharp, is your brows. So just going over that, making sure that looks good, nice, clean, and everything. And that's pretty much it, guys. You just want to practice. Practice is key. Getting your techniques down is key, and that's the most important thing. Then I'm going to be checking out what I look like, make sure everything is good. Loved how this makeup came out. It's very natural. I hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Most of you watch and you don't subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you. Thank you. See you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today for this makeup tutorial. I hope you did learn something new. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Check out my other videos on skincare and other makeup tutorials. I'll catch you in the next one.